Good evening. This is The Point of View. We're live on City TV this and every Monday and Wednesday. My name is Bernard Avle. The Point of View is your current affairs show on City TV. We get you the right guests. We ask them relevant questions, and there are always some useful insights. And tonight's show is a special show because we're trying to reflect and also project. It's been a few days since the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election that saw lots of violence. We'll try and understand what happened and paint a picture of what to expect in the next major election we face as a country. But it's an interactive show, so you can get in touch in 3 ways. You can watch us on Facebook with all the comments under the video. You can also send us a WhatsApp comment on the number on the screen, or you can send us a tweet. The hashtag is Point of View. When we come back, I'll tell you who my guests are for tonight's show. Stay with us. So 31st January 2019 would be a day that a lot of people would say was a dark day for Ghana, because what was supposed to be a simple decision over who to lead the people of Ayawaso West Wuogon following the death of Emmanuel Ejako turned out to be something else. Before we bring our guests, I want you to get a quick summary of the proceedings with Hansen Ajiman's report on the incidents of that day.
The unusual heavy security, including supposed operatives from National Security at the Labaoleshi Presby Center, was enough to have made the center an interest point in the by-election. For many, their presence was intimidating, if not unnecessary. This was a sharp contrast from observations at other polling stations with no more than 3 security personnel each. The posture of the alleged security personnel did not suggest any actions towards the election as they moved away from the polling center. But about 2 hours after voting had started at Baoleshi School, gunshots were heard from behind the polling center, where the strange-looking security men had run to. It was followed up with a confrontation between the alleged security operatives and some sympathizers of the NDC. These sympathizers alleged that the supposed security personnel had shot at a couple of their colleagues. One that did not go down with them. These furious sympathizers poured their outrage at what they believed was a deliberate attempt to intimidate them.
They are party members, and we came to the Aspirants House. This Aspirants House, and we are here. We organize ourselves to go and monitor the voting as how they call it. So we are here when they came with black and this thing. Then they started shooting. Back, one shit. Everybody sleep down. Go, move. Then they shoot our people.
Maybe the police people who came to come and stop them.
We get
supporting them right now. Okay, yes. If we call police to come and stop them, the police radar is supporting them. You understand? And the police were here before they started to throw the fire. They are here. Yes. We call police to come and stop them. The police people rather backing them, supporting them. Because they saw the police people around, they started to fire, shooting like bullets for here. The police cannot stop them.
Starting fighting with us, shooting our people. Some of the guy, they breaking leg into pieces, the bones, everything are there. And now they are claiming that it's not a bullet. And we have a bullet. Show, where is the guy? Yeah, you see the bullet.
Invisible forces who have come here to jump the wall and kill 3 people, shot 3 people. I'm telling you, they will not go scot-free. What government changes, they will see the police which is doing politics, the Ghana police which is doing politics, they should be very, very careful.
But the shooting that is going on there in some of these private residents. We can't also go to MPP's resident right now and cause commotion.
That's why we went there to come there.
What is all this?
That's why we went there to come there.
Is it war? Ordinary by-election?
Following the continuous unrest caused by the situation, the NDC's leadership hierarchy, in consultation with the parliamentary candidate, pulled out of the election.
The candidate has not been able to move out of his residence. His residence was attacked. Our agents and some of our boys have been shot at. I have just returned from the Legon hospital where 6 of our boys who are party agents and some of them accredited observers were shot at. Some of them have broken bones. Some of them are seriously injured. And as I speak to you now, they are preparing to move 2 of the injured persons to the 37 military hospital. That should tell you the extent of the damage.
So that was Samuel Fosampo for ending Hans Sinajiman's report. So the NDC would later withdraw the Apollo agents from the by-election. And of course, Lydia Al-Hassan would emerge winner. It was a very low turnout, probably 20%, if not less. So in studio tonight to help us understand what really happened and also to look forward to what kind of danger, what happened on Thursday poses for us, I have a security analyst, Bonnah. Adams, great to have you. Good evening.
Thank you.
And also a deputy chairperson of the National Commission on Civic Education, Kathleen Addy. Kathleen, great to have you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Great. So Adams, we just saw a short clip from what happened. This is not the full. We have other videos we'll show where there were physical beatings and stuff like that. What did you make of the whole thing?
Once again, good evening to your cherished viewers and good evening to my co-panelists and yourself and the team. Very barbaric. I think just this evening, before I left for your studio, I was on my dining table when I went onto Facebook.
Yeah.
And I think on your city
CNR Digital.
Yes. I saw some terrible beatings, very barbaric beatings of some civilians by, you know, these supposed national security operatives. And I thought, did this happen here? But yes, it did happen here. And so for me, it's something that it looks like we are yet to see the full picture of what actually took place. You know, some of us are angry with probably what we heard and what we have seen.
Is this a video you saw? Is this the video you saw?
Exactly. I mean, somewhere.
Yeah. So this is the same place.
Yes. You know.
La Bawaleshi.
Yes. And okay, so you can see them.
Men in khaki and black.
Hooded, you know.
Beating somebody.
This is a helpless person.
And then the police so the policeman walking, one trying to stop them.
Yes.
But he obviously is powerless. They were kicking him. Somebody had a chain beating him up. So we're not sure whether these are all security because some are not even uniformed. But then the police sort of tried to intervene, but it wasn't working. And there are a few more shots like these that we have. And there's a police truck there, so this is not happening outside the purview of the police. So we don't know who this guy is and what he's done. But there were quite a few pictures like this.
It doesn't matter.
And then there's a guy in blue shirt, his head being pushed about. I don't know whether he's part of the team or... It's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of...
Just beating people.
Yeah.
No one knows what this person did, but I thought that, you know, we are not allowed to do that. Our security personnel are not allowed. No law allows them to do that. There is that use of minimum force when the person is resisting arrest or lawful arrest. But you can see this person is helpless, defenseless. The person is not fighting back. And they are just pounding on the person. I mean, this is just too barbaric.
I interviewed Brian Echampo, who is the Minister of State at the Presidency for National Security, and he confirmed that these people in khaki were from National Security and that they were there to forestall incidents they had picked up by way of intelligence, that there was going to be trouble. So these guys were there as a deterrent to trouble. This was what he said to me on radio on Friday.
Yes, I did hear him, and I think they called him into another program somewhere I was. And, you know, I had the opportunity to question him on live radio. And I did tell him that he didn't have the locals. He didn't have no mandate to be doing what he's doing. National security, per the law that establishes the national security. I'm not a lawyer, but doesn't mandate them to go out there with supposedly, you know, some security personnel or a force that is probably beating people and, you know, intimidating people, all because they've picked some intelligence. If you pick intelligence, is that how you deal with, you know, even if the people were criminals? These are not people who were fighting back. And so for me, I'm not even sure why he's talking, because...
but if he doesn't talk, how will we know?
No, he's not supposed to be talking. He doesn't.
He's supposed to explain to us what
he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't. He's a minister, and as a policymaker, my expectations from a minister is to explain policy.
So who's supposed to be talking?
Who is supposed to be talking are the people on the ground. The police personnel, the SWAT unit are supposed to be coordinated by the police. And so my expectations are that he's not supposed to be talking. He's not a tactician. If you know the full meaning of the SWAT, he's not a tactician.
Special weapons and tactics.
Exactly. What does he know about special weapons and tactics?
We understand.
And security.
We used to be in the U.S. Army.
It doesn't matter.
That's beside the point.
That's beside the point.
But in Ghana, ministers talk because they have overall responsibility for whatever happens within their sector.
What I'm trying to say is that some of these issues are better left for those who, you know, are supposed to be
operational
on the ground, to come in, cool head, explain matters to people. But it looks like the more he spoke, the more he contradicted himself, because he had come to speak at a time when the police director of operations had spoken. I did hear your tape you played this morning when you called me, and he clearly did say the police director of operations, he had called him, and I thought that again, that was an anomaly. You called him, we were not there when you called him. So if I am the Minister of State in charge of national security, Bernard, I would not be putting that information out there. I rather would say, okay, I would have to check with him. We understand what I'm trying to say? Can you, I mean...
He was trying to contradict my... You know, I'd heard a voice of the police director of operations saying they did not know who the masked men were.
Exactly, and he contradicted him. And I thought that this is the police director of operations. This is the man who, Bernard, if this building is surrounded, he has the mandate to ensure that Kwesi Fori and his people are sent here to get us free. And so if you are the national security minister or whatever you call yourself, and you come on air to contradict him when the guy is not there to defend himself, then I have a problem, Bernard.
You put 21 questions out, which have become quite viral. I don't know if we have time to go through all the 21 questions, but I didn't know there were that many questions with what happened.
Yes, yes, there was, yes.
Which of them was most important? Because there's a lot of questions you asked, but give me your top 3 questions of the 21.
My top 3 questions, I would want to say, first of all, you know, what law mandates the national security to, you know, have this type of standby force to undertake this? If the law that establishes the national security and the National Security Council has changed, we need to know as a people, so that we now know. I now know that if I suspect Bernard to be breaking into my room, I can call the National Security Helpline and say, my room is being broken into. We are not aware of it. The third one is going to be, these people, where are they coming from? I mean, these are the questions I asked. Where are they coming from? I mean, who led them? Because we are told a police officer led them. And you and I know that we don't expect our police officers to, you know, met out this type of atrocities in, you know, to citizens, defenseless citizens. We see some of them. But you can always pinpoint and say, these people did it. They are the police officers. But here we are, no one knows, you know, if they are police officers or they are not. But now he told us they are national security operatives. Then I did ask, who is in charge of national security? This is a very important question.
You don't know who is in charge? There's a minister for national security.
Exactly.
It's called Albert Kandapa.
Thank you. And so probably I would have been more satisfied if Kandapa was speaking.
But I just thought you said the minister shouldn't speak.
No. What I'm trying to say is that it would have probably made, I mean, excuse me to say, a bit of sense if Kandapa had spoken. But you see, you have a minister of state in charge of national security at the presidency. Then we have the minister, what do you call, the national security minister.
Yes.
The national security minister, these are 2 different entities. And you have the guy at the presidency. Probably we need to see the job description of these 2. Then we're able to tell whether there is some overlapping somewhere we are not aware of. And so for me, it still remains the fact that, have we heard Kandapa speak?
Not yet.
Have we heard the Minister of the Interior speak?
Not yet.
Have we heard the Minister of Defense speak?
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you. So why are we hearing Brian Achampon speaking? I have nothing against him. Mine is that these are Ghanaians. Okay. We've got to be citizens.
So,
and so
it's a good place to end it. Yes. To pause. Kathleen, I'm going to throw in the deep end right now, because before we came on air, Felix Kwachofosu made an interesting tweet, which I thought was aimed at media. He said the media should stop turning this into an MPP NDC. He uses the word imbroglio. The MPP put uniforms on thugs and equip them to unleash violence on NDC supporters, period. They alone must carry the can and take responsibility for their actions. I also saw the statement the NCCE put out, which was very carefully targeted at politicians. And you did mention in your statement NPP and NDC. Why did you opt for that and not simply, and this I'm asking as a commission, why did you not simply say that the state agencies brutalize citizens? Why did you couch it in the political class language that your co-commissioner signed, I think 2 days ago?
Yes. Thank you very much, Bernard. And before I even get to your question, I have to reiterate that what happened in Ayawaso was absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. I mean, no matter what citizens have done, I mean, I think that as the security expert has said, there's a way of going about arresting citizens and bringing them to book for their actions, anybody who has done any wrong. And I absolutely condemn all of that. Now, to your question. Bernard, as you know, NCCE has been speaking about political vigilantism over the last couple of months.
Yes.
So for us, this was another incident. So in the past, we have written statements when the culprits have been one political party or the other. And so over the period, we have come to realize, and we all know, that whenever there is political vigilantism, is one or the other. And so there's a bit of tit for tat in the whole thing. Sometimes this person says, but this person did that to me the last time, and the other person will say, this person did that to me the last time. It's important for all of them to be called to order. Because where does the buck stop? It stops with them as a political class. The problem is not with one party or the other. The problem is the political class. And that's why we couched the statement the way we did, because I don't think that there are any innocent, parties here. But
if the NCCE says this is vigilantism, then you are sort of concluding that the men in the khaki and black are political vigilantes. But the National Security Minister of State said to me that these are his people, which are supposed to be NCS, National Security, NSC, National Security Council. So we didn't see political vigilantism there. It was more state forces essentially beating people up. In fact, if you read the Kodio report, they said at one of the polling stations, the security operatives who were wearing this uniform stood too close to the polling official. When the policeman on duty asked them to move away, they ganged up on him and beat him up. They beat the policeman up. So I don't know why the NCC, and I don't know whether you wrote that statement, why the NCC choose to... Vigilantism is a problem.
No, but this look at the time the statement was written. It was written before all these clarifications were made.
Okay, so you saw the whole thing from the point of view of two political parties fighting.
Absolutely.
So with the new information, you probably would edit the statement, because this is more than unless you say that the guys in there.
I agree with you. And so if we are going to go into that, then we have to wait for the police report. We have to wait for the final report that we expect the police to produce on this incident. Then based on that, we'll be able to release another statement. I hope you understand me.
I get you. So Adams, what do you make of the is vigilantism the issue at play here, or this is officious use of state power?
I think it's both. It's both? Because per the information that probably, according to sources, the National Security picked, they had to do with some Azoka boys.
Yes.
Who are the Azoka boys? The Azoka boys belong to, probably that notorious, what do you call them, vigilante group, who most often than not we hear in the news doing one thing or the other.
Okay.
And so as for those who went there, I did ask the question, are they party boys? But I believe that Brian Achampong came out to answer that by saying they are state-sponsored security operatives. But we do understand that there's an investigation ongoing. So that would unravel, what do you call it, whoever they are. That will tell us whoever they are. But as far as I'm concerned, these are not, I still hold the belief that these are not, what do you call it, state security officials. These are some people who are given, you know, state uniform and given states weaponry and whatever.
So what is interesting now is the NCCE called on the Inspector General of Police and the National Security to fully investigate the violence that happened at Ayawaso West Wuogon, and the perpetrators made to face the full rigors of the law. But the National Security Minister, at least the State Minister of State, is almost owning the people.
Exactly.
So how can the National Security investigate the violence when it was meted out by its own people?
Exactly.
So I think it leaves a bit of absurdity here. Is there not a different body? Because the person who the people who were sent out were sent out by, at least Mr. Bernard Chamo said, they were the government's people, National Security people. So how can National Security investigate violence that was unleashed by National Security people?
Bernard, this statement was released before your interview with Mr. Champon.
Yes, this was on the same day, 31st January.
But it was released before that
night,
interview
Thursday
came.
night.
At the time it was released, we didn't have that additional information. Besides, as you can see on the statement, it doesn't say just national, it says the police. Because as far as we know, it's the IGP and the police that are in charge of security. Of course, national security as well. But as we've known in the past with elections, it is the Ghana Police Service that provides the security for the elections. So we are asking the IGP and the police service to investigate.
But do you think the police can genuinely investigate?
But Bernard, this is where I have a problem. Why can't they?
Because you have to understand the context. So the journalist interviewed the director of operations of the police, who said he did not know the men. He sort of disowned them. Then Mr. Champon tells me that he spoke to this man and that we are misrepresenting what he said. Then the police PRO is also quoted on Fox FM as having said they don't know these guys. Again, Mr. Champon says it's not true. So now National Security Ministry is obviously higher up there than the police in our political...
Probably not National Security Ministry. Probably, let's say, the Minister of State in charge of national security at the presidency.
Bernard, you held a series of... Sorry.
Because if we are not careful, for me, the person in charge of national security at the National Security Ministry is Kandapa, not Brian Champon. So we need to do that distinction.
No, but the arrangement is simple. For example, there's education minister, and there's also minister of state in charge of an aspect of education.
Which is tertiary. Which is
so for most ministries, you have a minister, and sometimes you can have a minister of state providing additional support to that ministry, but based in the Jubilee House or Flagstaff House.
And they all must answer
to the president, to the cabinet.
Probably no. I mean, to the people, and for this reason, you want to say Brian Champon would have to answer to the sector minister.
Yes. So Brian Champon will answer
to the sector minister.
Yes.
In this case, it's safe to conclude the sector minister probably was also unaware of this. Probably Brian Champon will come and contradict us.
Are you saying this as an authority? If a minister of state of national security is making, don't forget, in all of this, he's been the main government person speaking. And
we shouldn't have been.
No, that's not the point here. My point is that his position is government position. We haven't had information minister. The only person who has spoken is the president, who condemned the violence, congratulated the winner, and said perpetrators were brought to book. So we have to assume that everything Brian Champon says represents government's view. And I was the first to interview him on this matter Friday morning, 9:15. So we cannot distinguish between Brian Champon's view and Kandapa's view or Interior Minister's view. You can probably distinguish between the police administration view as a body, but as government, you cannot. I don't know why you are cherry picking and saying Brian is different from Kandapa, unless Kandapa has told you that he's not.
No, but then also you held a series. You held a series of interviews in the heat of the moment.
Yes.
The police have said that they are investigating.
Yes.
People have released statements condemning the action.
Yes.
I think that it's important that we wait for police investigation, you know, before we jump to the next set of conclusions. I think it's important because everybody must do their job. The police have a responsibility to tell us what happened. They have a responsibility to tell us what happened. Let's wait and hear what they have to say. So far, you have contradictions.
But
no, we have to hear them out, Bernard. It's important. We have to wait to hear them because have the police released the reports of their investigation?
When was the last time the police released a report on any?
Yes, but that is not right. That we can't say that, we can't take that as the norm. We have to insist that they do their job, which is investigate and bring a report. They have to do it.
So you think that okay? I'm going to, when we come back, I will show you what the police themselves have said about the impediments to their work. Maybe that will help us. You want to make a quick
I would have wished that, just like the president did put in place, an investigative entity or committee, ad hoc committee to investigate what happened in Aswanse, and their report was very conclusive. I would have wished that this investigation, the president, we are told, is out of the country. He's going for 10 days. He's going to authorize that something of a sort is put in place so that this thing is taken out of the police, their hands, given to a different entity to interrogate this and tell us what actually happened. I mean, I would probably go by that question, your view, that the police might not be able to.
The wording of the president's statement is along the same lines as what the minister said. They said isolated incidents occurring outside main police stations. So that line, my point is, you can't expect the president to issue an investigation into something that, if you read the statement he issued, congratulating the winner, condemning the violence, and then talking about the isolated incidents, that falls in line with the same thing Mr. Champon said. So I don't know how you think the president's view is any different, because first you're saying the minister's view may be different from his boss's view, and you're also suggesting that maybe the president himself may have a different view.
Yes.
But the line, if you go through the statement he's making, he obviously believes that what happened was isolated.
Well,
but Bernard, did that incident cut across? It was one incident.
About two or so, I think.
There were bad incidents, but there were 137 polling stations.
Yes.
So the context is important.
But the time the incident happened was around 8 o'clock, 8:30. The turnout was less than 20%. Some people link the so-called isolated incident with the overall voter turnout. So it may be limited to pockets, but the view is that it could have affected the overall election. So it doesn't have to happen in all polling stations for it to be material. Do you know? We'll take a break.
Okay.
I have Kathleen Addy, who's a deputy
chair of the commission.
It's complicated. And Bonnah is a security analyst. We're trying to unravel what happened on Thursday. When we come back, we'll look forward. We'll hear from the police, and we'll also find out to what extent should we be worried about 2020 based on what happened on 31st January 2019. Don't go away.
It's time for the biggest road trip of a lifetime. 97.3 CTFM and City TV's Heritage Caravan is back. Get to experience culture and explore Ghana's favorite tourist destinations on the Heritage Caravan. 8 days, 8 regions, amazing destinations, and exciting events. Mark up your calendars. The Heritage Caravan starts on the 2nd to the 9th of March 2019. Visit citynewsroom.com to register or call 0205-973-973 for more details. The Heritage Caravan 2019 is powered by 97.3 CTFM and City TV. For regular news checks as they unfold, 2020 news all day, all the time. Politics, sports, entertainment, business, and more. 2020 news. We bring you the world in 20 minutes.
Welcome back. This is The Point of View. We're trying to unravel what happened on Thursday at the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election, and we're trying to see what kind of danger the incidents we saw there poses for our 2020 election. Here are some comments. Bernard, is there any way the IGP can be dragged to court for failure in exhibiting professionalism of duty that caused harm, rather than always government coming out to say he will conduct investigations? My name is Kosh. Thank you. Good morning. Good evening, Bernard. Please, the police should be up and doing. These guys are invisible forces. From the way they are behaving, you could clearly see they were not trained officers. Vandal Kofi B from Westlands. Ras Nene from Wa. Even though the security personnel didn't act professionally, I blame some of the current NCCE executives, including the women organizer, for declaring all die before the by-election. Politicians always used to achieve their parochial interest, and it's high time we advised ourselves. Yakubu Imadina says, in fact, our elders and opinion leaders are the cause of all the problems in Ghana. They've been selective and hypocritical. Thank God it's not them who judge us on Judgment Day to enter heaven. Tony Naflau says, what's happening in this country is very barbaric and will not help this country. The height of insecurity in the country is very alarming. If care is not taken, this country will be plunged into chaos in 2020. Moses says, to say the least, what happened last Thursday was unfortunate. I'm surprised because we are yet to see the West. Bernard, I must confess that I now sleep with one eye open because these thugs can just bump into your home and do anything to you. Charles Dakora in Tamale says, Bernard, I think our constitution is useless if the laws are not enforced. The so-called security men are supposed to be brought to book, including the heads of national security. All right, let's take a quick couple of videos. So a few months ago, a senior police officer, Agozo, spoke to civil society about the practical challenges police face in dealing particularly with election-related violence.
The General Police shall be appointed by the President, acting in consultation with the Council of State. Who are the Council of State? Who appointed them? Where is their loyalty? Don't answer. Keep it to yourselves. Now, the Inspector General of Police shall be head of the police service, but shall be subject to the provision of the article and to the control and direction of the Police Council. Who is the Police Council? Headed by the Vice President, who is also a party member and a member of the government. What kind of advice do you expect from him? Now, the third one, subject to the provision of the Constitution, the power to appoint persons to hold or to act in an office in the police service shall vest in the President. Are you getting the point? Now, if it is the President, what else do you expect? Acting in accordance with the advice of the Police Council. Who is the Police Council? You know. Sorry. Now, I just want to go to the Police Council for you to see the difference, what I'm really talking about. Yes. All right. Now, this is the composition of the Police Council in Ghana. The Vice President is a party man. It doesn't matter whether it's MPP or NDC. This is what we have given us, and this is what we work with. Now, a minister responsible for internal affairs, who is he? He's a party man. Then you have an Inspector General of Police appointed by the President. The President can dismiss him at any point in time, and therefore his loyalty is partial. It doesn't matter whether he was appointed by MPP or NDC. His loyalty is divided. Because he can be appointed today and dismissed tomorrow. And the worst scenario is when he is appointed to be acting capacity. It means I'm watching you. That is what it means. Now, the Attorney General is a party man. Then you have a lawyer nominated, that one can be impartial, a representative of police, very well. 2 members of the police service appointed by the President. So who is that? Those people. Once they are appointed by the President, you know where they are coming from. Then 2 other members appointed by the President. So the whole composition of the Police Council is the President. And it's a party. Why will you give us this and think that we should be professional? You cannot. There's no way you can have a professional police service. It is party politics. And that is why we have become a chess in the hands of the government. Whether it's MPP or NDC, we are chess in their hands. And they are playing political games with that. That is why no party in opposition can trust the government, can trust the police. Because of what you do with us. And so once you move into opposition, you are scared that the same thing you do with us, the other party will do with us. So there is a need for constitutional amendments. And I propose that.
So Assistant Commissioner of Police, Agbozo. This is not the first time he said this. I've been at events where he's made the same point. Kathleen, so you said before the break, police should investigate. The guy says, we are emasculated because the whole system is beholden to the politicians. So if the politicians foment trouble at elections, you don't expect us to be able to do anything because all the guys who are supposed to act are at the beck and call of the politician. So are you going to go back to what you said? Having listened to him?
I'm sorry. I mean, as a country, we have rules. We have people in different roles to play. I'm sorry, we can't do anything but to insist that people play their roles. Because otherwise, we are asking for anarchy. If we are going to, if the police will excuse themselves in times like this, then what we are saying is that it should happen again. You understand? I really sympathize with the what the gentleman said. And I think that it's time that, you know, we start looking at the victimization within the police service, as he alleges. That if you speak up as a policeman, you'll be victimized. I think that one of the things civil society should do is to be able to support the police, to be able to speak freely, so that if somebody is victimized, we bring it up. We bring it up as an issue for discussion, you know. The reason why I insist that the police should do their work, Bernard, is because if we accept that the police cannot work, we are asking for anarchy in this country.
But the constitutional arrangement, I'm sure you admit, makes it practically impossible for them to do what they have to do. That's what he's saying.
No, I don't think so.
He's working with constraints that he inherited.
Because so you're assuming that over time, over the whole period, the leaders that we've had have all... The police has been working. They are not perfect, but they've been working to this point. I'm not saying that.
But in the matter, you see, police can work with, even if you are appointed by politicians, you can deal with crime. But in the matter of political vigilantism, which is sponsored by political parties, because again, in this specific case, and I've been at the point where he spoke, he was speaking about political vigilantism.
Okay.
So he's saying that in this context, it is practically impossible for them to do anything. So when you expect a police, and we've had a lot of, I mean, look at what happened with all these guys who went to Kumasi to go and chase a judge and stuff. So the evidence bears him out. So it's a bit unfair to say you are sorry they should do their work when you know that when it comes to political vigilantism, they are emasculated by the politicians. So the blame is actually the politicians, not the police.
Oh, I'm not saying the politicians are innocent, but the politician is not a policeman. The policeman has been hired by the people to do a job, and I think that job should be done.
What do you think?
I think that job should be done. If he does it and he's victimized, then the people must protest against that victimization.
Do the people care? Do you know how many policemen have been transferred for speaking? Do you even know where he is now? He's not even in the country.
Let me.
Do you know where he is?
It's practically impossible to even get to know when some of these officers are being victimized. If you know the late ACP Awintua, you know.
I forget. I remember the name.
Yes, he used to be at Nima.
Police MTTU.
MTT. You know, he suffered a lot of, you know, victimization in the hands of the politicians. They kicked him left, right, center, here and there. You know, not sure, but then somehow he passed away. Yeah. It is practically impossible.
Awuni, I think.
Awuni, yes. You know. And so for me, I think that the problem we have with policing and security in general in this country has to do with the Constitution. I mean, if you look at this Constitution was developed or, you know, enacted, was put together for one person, just because we were coming from the revolutionary era into a democratic rule, and then therefore there needed to be checks here and there to make sure that no one would pick arms to, you know, overthrow the then, you know, J.J. Rawlings. But, you know,
so it has outlived its usefulness in the form in which it was.
Yes, and so I think that at the time it would have been useful. But
it empowers the president too much.
Yes, today it is.
Okay, now let's go to my thesis for the day. And to preview that, I'm going to play Kofi Boakye, another highly respected policeman, who's been speaking about the potential for violence in election 2020. So don't forget, the question tonight is, to what extent does what happened on 30th, 31st January portend election 2020, Kofi Boakye was speaking recently about political vigilantism and the electoral violence that we've seen in recent times.
In spite of the fact that political thuggery is somehow supported by elements within both political parties, we are prepared to face it head on. And we need your support. We need the support of civil society. Because if we leave it to the politicians alone, we will fail. We need to come together and say enough is enough. Because if you bring the whole Ghana police from all the regions to Accra, and there is a political rout, the police cannot control it because of numbers. Not because we cannot do it, but because of numbers and support. I don't want to talk about the security architecture of this country, because one of my colleagues spoke about the security architecture, Dr. Agojo, and he was fried. But he was speaking the truth, nothing but the truth. The criminal justice system, the whole criminal justice system, should support the fight against vigilantism. And when I say that, I mean the police, the Attorney General, and the judiciary. But we cannot pay lip service to the fight against vigilantism and covertly support them with money, appointments, and what have you. Ghanaians should support police to deliver. And the support should not only be in terms of what they can give police to deliver, but you must let your voice be heard. This vigilantism is something which is clear and present danger to our democracy. And it is escalating. It's not coming down. Because something has not happened. But I can assure you, if we don't sit up, police, political parties, both NDC and MPP, civil society, those who know better, if we all don't sit up, 2020 and beyond will be something explosive, and it can be something that will not be able to contain. Having said that, the assurance is that the government is giving us the necessary equipments now, and in fight against riot and all those things, we need equipments. But even if you get all these equipments and arrest people, and they just give them a slap at the bottom, go and don't sin again. It will continue. But until also we change our security architecture through the constitutional provisions and amendments, we will have a long way to go in fighting vigilantism, which is clear, present, imminent, and dangerous route we are on.
Clear, present, imminent, and dangerous route. This is Kofi Boakye, who is the Police Professional Standards Bureau Chief Director General, speaking at the New Year School, courtesy of Ghana Web. Both men ended by talking for constitutional review.
Yes.
So the system is not helping them to work.
The system is not helping. In the meantime, they could benefit a lot from support from civil society. As he said in the video, we should let our voices be heard when these things happen. I mean, obviously, they are in a very difficult situation, obviously, according to what they themselves are saying. The only thing that can help them immediately, short term, today, is the voices of the people. The people have to insist that the police are allowed to do their work. That's all. I see the politicians are no different from us, Bernard. They are just like us.
You are passing that place now.
They are a reflection. You said we are passing.
You are going to that area now.
They came from us. Are they strangers? Did they drop from another planet?
Everything that comes from you, that is you.
Well, what I mean is that it's a reflection. What that means is that there are things that can hold them in check. Politicians want to assure votes, want assured votes. If that assured vote is threatened, they quickly align. If the people raise their voice and say, we want the police to work, we don't want you to victimize them. If you victimize them, we'll victimize you. a lot of these things will self-correct.
But the politicians themselves use the police to suppress any revolt. Look at Adenta. Look at how police brutality and force is meted out on citizens.
See, let me
try to exercise any right of dissent.
Something has to
so
give.
this police that's asking us to help them, you should have been Adenta seeing what happened to people who were protesting by
Let me tell you something. You see, yes, this thing has happened, and usually for me, you don't want to delve too much into, you know, the internal politicking. But before Sam George became MP, you remember he needed to compete against the E.T. Mensah. And during their primaries, I'm sure your reporters were there, where but this was when NDC was in power. The military officers were sent there to virtually intimidate everybody, beat people up. And the policewoman had to stand her ground. Is it Vip Sanziri? I think she was a woman. And she spoke out so loud that I am in charge. She spoke out, I am in charge. And so you see, when it comes to using the security agencies to intimidate people, the politicians usually don't care whether it is cross-party or internal party activity. So long as they are, I mean, I'm the DCE, therefore I'm the district,
the district security committee
chairman. If I have to compete against you, the ordinary person who wants to be something, chances are that I can speak directly to the district commander, and the district commander would have to somehow agree, and then we intimidate everybody. And so these things, for me, are quite worrying. If this constitutional amendment can be looked at. Meanwhile, we also need police officers who would have to sometimes stand up and speak. We are hearing, on this program, ACP Dr. Agodro has spoken. We've had COP, what's his name, Nathan Kofi Boakye also speaking. I want to hear a few of such. I think there is this Peter Chobu who is in the headquarters. We've had him also take on some police officers, I think, in some training where he was asking them, what are the people saying we do, that we take bribe? I don't know whether you saw that video. We want to see, for me, these three officers come across as people who probably are trying to bring about some reformation that we expect. And so let's see more of. But
what do you make of Kofi Boakye's very dire prognosis that 2020 is like a time bomb? He was very clear.
No, it is. I mean, is it a dress rehearsal? The Ayawaso West Wuogon.
This is a rehearsal.
But this is
not the main issue.
No. I mean, just like when we were young, you have to. They say comedy. I mean, comedies or whatever. When we were young, you needed to watch the comedy. If you didn't have money, they throw you out, and they say everybody should come and pay. So this is just the comedies we saw. Because I will tell you that if you look at, let's say, the general elections, where there will be polling stations all over the country. And we've already seen this, where we have heard from John Dramani Mahama, which I thought probably a bit could have calmed down. I mean, and so a lot of things would have to take place between now and 2020. There's a reason why civil society, individuals who think that they can play a role to bring the two rivals, the political parties, to a round table. Let them know that, there's no point to pretending over a ruined country, chaotic country. Or else, what Nathan Kofi Boakye said, if we look at it and say it's never going to happen, Bernard, I'm going to tell you that it will take us on by surprise, because then you and I are sitting here day to day. Those of us here, we don't know what others are planning. We are showing these images. I'm just seeing these images. Some of the images you played in terms of the brutality that took place. I'm just seeing them. But I didn't know I would see such images in Ghana. But I'm seeing them. And it happened just recently.
And this is peacetime.
This is peacetime.
With a functioning democracy.
Yes. This is peacetime. It tells you that anybody who is seeing this and thinks that I'm offended by this, chances are that 2020, the person is going to be coming to a polling station or be coming to an election area to fight back.
The two of you seem to be saying the people and citizens should lead. But we have a government. We have a president. Why should it be us? He's the one who's supposed to be ultimately in charge of the country's security. If he sees this, why should it be ordinary citizens?
I don't think he has seen it.
Bernard,
I don't know. He's out of the country. This brutality, I don't think most of the...
Are you serious?
No, I mean, I have to be honest with you. I'm sure a lot of Ghanaians haven't seen this. It's the first time I'm seeing this. I saw this an hour before this program. An hour before this program. And so it tells you that probably, I don't know when you guys put it on your...
It was earlier today. Let me take a short break and I'll take your comment. A short break. This is the point of view. We're live on City TV. My guest, Kathleen Addy, NCCE Deputy Chairperson, and then Adams Bonnah, security expert. Don't go away.
We spice up your mornings with culturally enriched conversations, social interviews, and policy-oriented discussions that will keep you updated on the progress of the nation.
Those security guys who were supposed to protect them, I'm sure by now somebody must have all of them arrested. They must all be arrested because it's an unprovoked attack.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Let your voice be heard with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. Join us for breakfast daily, only on City TV.
Get the backstory of the major news stories on Press Conference. Hear from the editors and the reporters behind the biggest stories of the week.
The university needs to think and reconsider. There are women who are in our universities who have been sexually molested for grades. That doesn't matter.
Press Conference every Sunday at 9 p.m. with Duke Mensa Opoku, only on City TV.
Welcome back. This is still the point of view, trying to understand what happened on 31st January at the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election and look into the crystal ball for 2020. Here are more comments. Evans McNally says, "Hi Bernard, I thought the usual thing was that the president would go pay the victims a visit and sympathize with them. He rather chose to praise the EC for a good job, just like he did after a referendum that saw people captured on video voting several times." This one is from Prince Ahoto. He says, "These political militant groups, if they continue on this tangent, they will soon be choosing who becomes flag bearer of NDC and NPP. Whoever commands them becomes leader. For now, the politicians think it serves their greedy and selfish purposes." Kofi Asiru says, "Please, let's understand one thing. You can't intentionally provoke someone and expect the person to walk away." Okay. Kofi Koji Kumwesotete. "We are not safe under this government. I'm watching you live from Somanya. The IGP must resign as soon as possible." Derico Sadorigo. Bernardino, "It's sad to our democracy. The political cacophony and double standards has resulted in this. Protecting of a ballot box doesn't warrant Rambo style with sophisticated and deadly weapons. It's deliberate and premeditated." So I put a question on the floor before the break as to why both of you seem to be saying, we the citizens, and you are not asking the president or the duty bearers. Nice word. Duty bearers. Why aren't they the ones you're focused? Why are you focusing on us, the citizens?
Because, Bernard, we are the ones with the power. Yes.
We can make them and not make them.
Difficult as, that seems just on the surface. Actually, the power does belong to the people. In reality, I said before that, first of all, politicians did not fall from the sky. We chose them to go and do a particular job. And so we have to insist that they do their job. By letting them understand that if they don't do their job, they will look. You understand? I am a strong believer in people power. And I think that if civil society can come together and let their voice be heard really strongly on some of these things, it will make a difference. It will make a difference if a policeman is victimized and all of civil society together. And I mean, not just organized civil society, everybody raises with one voice, says that we will not accept the victimization of this man or woman for doing his or her job. It will make a difference. But that is a short-term measure. medium to long term, we have to have we have to pick up the constitutional review from where we left off.
Do you think the people who think like you and I are in the majority or the minority?
Oh, Bernard, there's nobody in Ghana who doesn't want peace. Nobody in Ghana who wants to live in anarchy and in a state of war or a state of insecurity. There's nobody like that. Definitely, people who want peace of mind to go about their lives, pursuit of happiness, as the Americans say, to be free, to be able to live their lives and just do their work and get on with business. That's the majority. That's all of us.
So is it that and let me come to the media now, is it that we haven't given them the voice? Because, I mean, if you even read comments on social media, and you are a witness, when you put something up, a lot of the political hawks, the hawkish elements, cloud your timeline, they call you names, from both sides, actually.
Yes.
So it's not even traditional media alone. So it seems as if those who are, and again, let me give you evidence. If you look at the elections from 92 coming, you've seen that NDC and PP are entrenching themselves.
Exactly.
So the smaller parties are getting nothing. Now, there's no smaller party.
People are entrenching them. They are not entrenching themselves.
Fine, it's semantics. My point is, the people who claim they want something else,
yes,
is it that they are in the majority but they are silent? Or they are hypocrites?
When you say something else, what do you mean? People
something other than because don't forget you said your statement said the NDC and PP are fomenting trouble with all these vigilante groups. And they have supporters. The supporters may claim they want peace, but they vote to perpetrate two traditions that are
let me just
in a race to the bottom.
Let me just explain something.
When they are voting, they are not casting their vote saying that I am voting for this party because I want violence. They have higher expectations of the two parties. And the fact that people prefer the two parties, you cannot hold them, you cannot hold it against them. Just because they prefer them doesn't mean that they like this aspect of the things that they do.
But why do they keep voting for them?
No,
because they have behavior.
No, you see, Bernard,
this is not all the political party. This is not all they do. People vote for a whole lot of things.
But the truth
not
is that the smaller parties keep mimicking the two bigger parties, which I find very unfortunate. Okay. You would count the smaller parties we have in this country. You would, by and large, see them either they are leaning too close to the NDC or leaning too close to the MPP. When that happens, if I want to be a member of that small party, then I'm better off being a member of the bigger party. That is where I see the problem is. But if you go to probably in Britain, where you have the Liberal Democrats, these are people who largely are in the middle, the liberals. But here, we don't have such a thing. And so it becomes very difficult. We are usually either torn between the NDC or the MPP. And for me, they are almost the same. If you look at what happened, these things we are discussing, happened, some of it happened in the NDC era. Today, we are having some of it happening today. And is it going to go away? It won't go away till probably we change the constitution and tell ourselves that, we don't want to see this type of atrocities again. Okay. But remember share this thing.
I don't want to say thank you. My summary of what both of you have said is that, of course, the question was whether 2020 portends something different. You are saying two things. If the citizens don't rise up to demand for better, things will not change. And in the long term, constitution has to change. That's what both of you are saying. Yeah. So you are asked the lawyers to say ad idem on the matter. I want to thank you, Bonnah, security analyst, and Kathleen Addy, deputy chairperson of the NCCE, for taking time to speak to us on the point of view. My name is Bernard Avle. Please stay with City TV and good night.